Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. This is review 2 of tonight. Same brewery. Autodidact Brewing. This is their one-way trip, New England style IPA. It's actually a collab, as you can see here, with Gearblock Brewing, when it's done on the Autodidact side of things. Autodidact. I've reviewed a couple of their beers. I'll post their New Zealand Pilsner along with this one. I promise they'll both go up at the same time because there's going to be a balance to these two. Taking a shot in the dark. Saying this beer, hopefully, is quite tasty. Anyway, let's jump right in. Autodidact Gearblock Brewing Company. I haven't had anything from them. I've had, I believe, something else that somebody did review-wise with them. One-way trip, New England IPA, 6.4% alcohol by volume. They're out of Morris Plains, New Jersey. Done and done. Yeah, it's a cool little skyline of mountains. Nice little string. Yeah, one-way trip. Sounds a little ominous. Anyway, 6.4% New England style IPA. Let's see how this sucker shows some proofs. This is hyper fresh, I believe. I want to say this was in cans for like a day or two before I bought it. So we'll see how it plays in the beer itself. Do we get a date? Nope. It says can't look back. So there's a talking point. They can put stuff in the bottom of the cans. They didn't put a date on it. It's kind of poopy. Oh. Now listen, new breweries like this, they produce cans. They produce such low amounts of cans. They're not lasting. They're not lasting. So it's not like a big deal. Listen, Alchemist didn't put cans on until like a year or two ago. But if you can stamp a can, come on now. Just put it on. Anyway, soapboxing. Let's stop. That looks like really nice. Almost thick with a couple C's kind of turbid haze. I mean, you can definitely glean some light through it. It has that nice rich kind of orange in color, kind of almost like peach juice more than anything else, or like pear juice kind of look to it. Super creamy, fluffy head to it, and just that yellow, bright yellow turbidity that you come to want when it comes to New England style IPAs. A lot of times, hazy beer will be like, hazy IPA, this kind of IPA. This is like just New England IPA, so you're expecting a couple different things, and that is that rich, thick, dense head. It has that kind of soapy, rich kind of lacing already going on in the head the way it is. It is looking all the parts. Let's get a nose. It smells awesome. Like, awesome. Like, awesome. For New England IPA, this is what I want. Man, it's rich. It very much reminds me of a Hop Butcher beer on the nose. And that, it comes off with this nice kind of soft-tempered sweetness, a la what I like to say, which they might have did. I know Hop Butcher says they don't, but I'm pretty sure they do. It's almost like there is a touch of lactose in there, like a very, very small amount. Not necessarily to make it a lactose IPA or a, milkshake IPA, but a lot of the when it comes to these New England style IPAs is that soft, not sharp, kind of sweeter confectionariness. Now, obviously, they use a lot of brewer sugars here. You're not dealing with a ton of malt base. Typically, there's a lot of oats involved, but you're leaning heavily into brewer sugars. And then sometimes you can just a little lactose soften that. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing here, but that's the way the nose comes off for me, with that really soft, kind of rounded, kind of percepted sweetness. I know you can't smell sweetness. Listen, we can all perceive what we think is sweet. And then there's those gobs and gobs of tropical fruit and citrus. No rindiness. No, precursor of bittering to this. It's very much like a soft, orange Julius kind of confectionery, kind of tropical citrus. And when we say citrus, we're leaning heavily into orange here. We're not going grapefruit. We're not even really going ton of pineapple or anything like that. It's very much kind of the gamut of citrus with this big kind of melon, star fruity kind of tropical fruit kind of powdery deliciousness, sweetness. It smells everything what I want in a hazy. Let's put it that way. Let's dive in. Cheers, all. It's delicious. It's absolutely 100% delicious. Pillowy mouthfeel. super silky satin pillowy mouthfeel with this nice, again, that oaty, brewer sugar, touch of confectionery kind of sweetness to it. So it's sweet but not sharp. Everything has a rounded edge here, very much like I keep saying confectionery. Hopefully you know what that means. Non-saccharine, non-hard candy, non-sugar kind of sweetness. On a flip the script, over to the fruit side of things, it is very much that tropical fruit citrus without any kind of pithy, any kind of rindy, any kind of bittering whatsoever. It's all the fruit juice. It's very much that orangina, orange Julius kind of like, again, kind of slightly desserty portion of the citrus / tropical fruit kind of show. It's almost like a V8 splashy but not disgusting, the way it kind of comes off. There is a bittering here, but it's very, very light. And what it's wrapped around is actually really cool, which is a slight grassy green, which I don't get a ton of anymore. It's almost like, a lot of times with these hops, they kind of try to breed the living crap out of the I would say green. That's the one I want to say. I know it's kind of broad because you say what pininess and bittering and all that, but it's like the green grassiness. When I used to do a lot of reviews, I used to talk about like walking behind a lawnmower, green grassiness. I don't think my palate's changed. I think hops have been bred in specifically a la Simcoe. Just get rid of that cat pee. Get rid of that. Who else? What was not Simcoe? Not Citra, obviously. Was it Galaxy? Was Galaxy? No. What's the New Zealand hop I'm trying to think? Motueka. Motueka used to have, like, onion. Like, rank, like, foul scallion, red, yellow, all the onions, and not cooked either. Just, like, straight up oniony. I remember the first time I ever smelt Motueka. When I was homebrew with some friends, I smelled it. I was like, good God, this is vile, and I'm so happy it exists. It almost seems like they tried to breed that particular characteristic out of that, and it goes along with a lot of these beers. And so I don't get that big green portion, like big green grassiness all that much. Not that it's a huge note in this beer, but I'm absolutely 100% think it's there behind everything else. And it ends up being a really well-made, really fun beer. Like I said, very much hop butcher for the world for me. Those kind of vibes. And honestly, you're talking about some of my favorite hazy IPA. I mean, hop butchers, they're on the Mount Rushmore for me, personally. And this beer is very much like that. Their own twist on it. Never really got that green grassiness much from hop butcher, if at all. I think this is absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. And it begins, let's cut the chase and we'll close the beer portion of the show up here and just kind of go off the other review we did of their other beer. Super silky, satiny mouthfeel. Not overly, it's a sweet beer, but it's not cloying, it's not saccharine. It has that soft, low confectionery kind of edge to it. And then you get that kind of nice tropical fruit, orange, no pith, no bitter, kind of orange Julius kind of confectionery kind of portion of the show with a fluttering green grassiness. Is this one of the better hazies I've had as of late? Especially not doubles. Yes. Mount Rushmore status? Yes. Yes, it is. It is. And that's where the conversation comes in. So I implore you, if you haven't watched, I'm going to post at the same time their New Zealand Pilsner review, which was rife with dimethyl sulfide. Like, it was so much so that it was really hard to kind of dig into the beer. And I use that as an opportunity to have a conversation about breweries that are relatively new, very new, and how they can make amazing beer, but you're going to have hiccups from time to time, and how that shouldn't dissuade you from buying their beer nor supporting them. Now, I went to say very adamantly, like, if you're buying beer from a brewery just because they're new, that's not a good thing either. Like, if their beer's just shitty, you keep buying it and it's bad, and you're like, well, I'm just going to keep buying it because they're going to get better. That's not the conversation we're having here. I'm saying, a brewery, you can tell they're trying to do good things. The beers you have there are really, really nice, but every now and then, you're like, well, this one's a miss for me. And not so much that you don't like it. There's a very big difference between something off in a beer on something you don't like. You know, there's very much like, oh, I cannot like this style of beer, but it's a very good beer. I just don't like that style of beer, as opposed to there's an off flavor to beer. So if you're going to have that, you can appreciate both ends of the spectrum. And this is, like I said, one of the best New England style hazies. Sub 7%. It's absolutely delicious. And this is what working through and buying every now and then. They're random beer that you don't find that nice because maybe it's not up to snuff for you. This is what you reap with that kind of support, for the lack of a better term. I think it's an appropriate term, but I lack the vocabulary to make it a fancier term. And I think that's a good thing. You know, Autodidact, they're 45 minutes away from me. Some people are like, man, that's far. That's a local brewery for me. Man, I live in New Jersey. People, when they think of New Jersey, think of Sopranos or Jersey Shore. Jersey's called the Garden State because there's farms and crazy, horse farms and cattle farms and garden farms, like produce farms, all over the place. That's why it's called the Garden State. It's not like a joke. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in a farm in New Jersey. I can't see my neighbors' houses. If I really try, I can go out to a specific point and look, and I might see them over there. Like, I live in the middle of nowhere. So 45 minutes is actually relatively close for me. So to support local breweries that are trying to do really nice things and really great things, I think is important. And know that nobody's going to be perfect. And there's going to be hiccups along the way. And that's okay. Just because you have like a beer that is negative from a place, and that's the only, if you do that, if you have one beer from one place and it's negative, and you're like, screw that place, and be like, you're just not being a good person, you're being very myopic, and you're just not seeing a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is when you get stuff like this. Well, hopefully that is what y'all do when you go to breweries. Anyway, so Mount Rushmore status, valued availability, brewery only. I want to say it was probably close to $18, I'm guessing. And if you like what you like this, if you like haze, that's it, straight up. If you're a haze boy, hop thought, whatever, you'll like this. Period. End of sentence. Hopefully you enjoyed your review. Hopefully you enjoy Autodidact. Let me tell me about like Gearblock. Sorry, not Gearbox. Gearblock Brewing. Have you been there? Have you had their beers? Where exactly are they located? I assume they're in Jersey. I'm gonna have to find them. Autodidact. Have you been in the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? If you had this beer, let me know your thoughts, because I'm really curious to see what you think. Go watch that other review. Watch this review. Take it all with all the salt in the world, because hopefully you're drinking a Goza. Hopefully you're drinking good beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.